Hey, welcome. I have to make sure this. Okay. Oh, welcome to week 9. Team Builder against Hephaestus and the Drunk Fraternity of Pikachu's. The greatest name, greatest logo also of all time. Greatest man. Just overall chill dude. Last week we did lose 1-0. We dropped to 5-3, and current standings. I think at this point, I'm recording this kind of late. I'm still technically 2 games up. So everyone else there were 2 3-4 teams below me, and they both lost and went to 3-5. So I'm 5-3. They're 3-5, I believe. They might be 4-5. I don't remember if they played yet. But either way, like if I lose this, I'll basically at best be 1 game up. So like this is a very important match. DFP has won one more game than I have, so he's 6-2. He has lost 2 straight. Very somewhat unlucky games, just somewhat like I think he let the foot off the gas a little bit later in the season because he was quite a couple games ahead of his division for a little while. So important game for both of us, I'd say. More for me because I'm in second and he's in first in his division, but you never know. You still wanna keep the wins going. So looking at this team, it is really scary. There's basically the main reason he's done so well is this Mimikyu. People have done very poorly prepping for it. He's done very well to keep it alive to get late game sweeps. The late game sweeps of this thing have been incredible. The week before this one, he actually should have had a 5-0 comeback, but he made a mistake where he didn't use his Z move because he thought Melodic he was facing a Melodic and it had like 35%, and he was at +2, and he was like, I need my Z move. I was like, nah, dude. You didn't, but we don't help each other out during battles and stuff. I was just watching, so he could very easily be 7-1 still. So that's the thing. So Mimikyu is pretty good. I think I've prepped okay for it. Entei's a huge threat to my team. The only thing I really have for it is Quagsire, and even though I don't really think he'd bring Mega Venusaur, Quagsire still doesn't have that good of a matchup against his team. Like Vaporeon can stall it out. Bronzong kind of stalls it out too. It's just like he has quite a few things where it's just like it's not like Quagsire can handle them well anyways. But bringing an entire Mon just for one of his Mons is risky. I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it, but it's just risky. Landorus is a threat just because it does huge damage. Maybe is a threat because of Disguise and Swords Dance. Meloetta should probably be orange just because it can transform, and I have a few things it could pretty easily transform against. And once it gets to 128 speed, it kind of fucks my team up. But like I wasn't sure if he was gonna bring it. I don't know. I think he's brought it like once, so it's like you really shouldn't let how many times someone's brought something affect how you build. But that's just how it goes. Dragonite is just spooky because it does a lot of damage. Mega Venusaur, I have Hoopa, I have Tornadus, so it should be fine. And then I don't know. Hitmontop Vaporeon is just like Vaporeon. I don't have super good things to hit. I have Sarina for it. I have a Abomasnow for it. And Hitmontop is just kind of annoying. Like nothing besides Tornadus, which doesn't really want to switch into a potential rock move. Doesn't do great against it. Shedden does a joke, and Bronzong. I have Hydreigon and Hoopa for it. So the first thing I noticed is his team is super weak to Dark. He actually Hitmontop is his only Dark resist, and everything else is just wrecked by it. So Hydreigon's definitely coming. Hoopa's definitely coming. He doesn't have a super anti-Hoopa team, fortunately. His main thing is U-turn on Landorus, just Banded, Entei likely, and Mimikyu with Play Rough. So it still has a decent matchup. So I'll just go into why I brought it. So Hoopa came in at max speed in case either Dragonite or Venusaur is max speed. And I'm just especially offensive. I mean, I can KO Landorus with this. I can do a huge amount to Entei. Mimikyu kind of messes me up. Meloetta kind of messes me up if it's already transformed. Dragonite and Venusaur I can handle mostly. Speed time maybe with Dragonite or +1, hopefully not. But that's what Abomasnow's for if you can see him. Vaporeon kind of, but it still does a lot of damage. And I have Calm Mind in case Vaporeon comes in. And then I have Darkinium Z also to just get huge hits off. So Hoopa's just coming to do huge damage. If I can get it in on one of his slower mons, I can potentially Calm Mind and just guarantee a KO and stuff like that. So it's Psychic, Dark Pulse, HP Ice I think covers his whole team. Dark Pulse and Psychic covers his whole team. And HP Ice is just to guarantee a KO against Landorus if it comes to it. If he didn't bring U-turn or something, I don't know. So really really straightforward. Defense is so low. So Hydreigion's coming in specs. I outspeed Mimikyu, which is huge. The only things that outspeed me are Transform, Meloetta, Landorus, and Entei. And I figured Entei can only do so much to me. Landorus would have to have Focus Blast or just U-turn basically to be able to hit me. I don't know if he'd bring Focus Blast with Landorus. His Landorus stat is really confusing to me because there's a lot of things he could and couldn't bring. It's like Earth Power obviously comes for sure. I was thinking Rock Slide has a good chance because of Tornadus. He likes to bring Rock Polish on Landorus. Landorus Rock Polish is a very good set, so I mean that would eat up a coverage move, and then it's like maybe Sludge Wave for Serena, Focus Blast for Hydreigon. It's like he runs out of coverage moves, and if he doesn't have Rock Polish, then I can really mess him up. So this thing has Dark Pulse, Draco Meteor, and Dragon Pulse because that's all I need for coverage. Dark Pulse hits, like I said, everything besides him on top. And I don't really know, but like in case I don't want to be Draco Meteoring, if I need multiple kills in a row, I have Dragon Pulse and U-turn for initiative and speed. I'm outspeed Mimikyu, so it's just very speedy. These got all thrown around. I don't know. I could have just done all in one stat, but I feel like 3 points in 3 stats versus 2 points in 1 stat technically is better, but depends what you think. So Specs Hydreigon, pretty good. Yeah, I mean, like, looking back, I still don't really have anything for Entei, obviously. Like, weak, neutral, resisted, but not super defensive, and then 20 defense, dead. So it still is pretty bad. I'll go over what my answers for Entei kind of are. So Tornadus is technically one of them. I have safety goggles in case Venusaur comes. That way I can switch into it super safe and not get slept or anything. I have Hurricane for basically everything on his team, then Dark Pulse for Bronzong. That's pretty much it. I don't want to bring Heat Wave on the off chance he's heat proof over Levitate, since I have Nidoqueen for my ground type, but like he might I have some fire coverage that he might expect a little bit. I mean, he probably also, if he brings Bronzong, it would very likely be Colbur Berry because I have a lot of dark coverage. But still, and then HP Ice for Dragonite and Landorus, and Dark Pulse or Hurricane technically for Meloetta. So, and then U-turn for coverage. So this thing's pretty straightforward. I've EV'd, because Meloetta outspeeds me anyways, if it's fast enough, I've EV'd to outspeed Landorus, so that way I can run Modest and get like a lot more damage off, which I think is really good. In my case. So this thing's also straightforward. I mean, I'm running Hurricane for damage. I need to be able to hit it. That's always a risk with this thing, but I've gotten lucky so far. And I mean, like when I'm not gonna run Air Slash for safety and then lose because I did 20-30% less and then I would have KO'd. It's like I'd rather, or I'm banking on flinch chances. I'd rather just go for damage. Now, so there's that. Bump Snow is interesting. I ran some speed into it to hopefully outspeed a Vaporeon. That's like completely defensive. And then otherwise I'm just offensive and then with some HP bulk. So I have Ice Shard for Landorus and Dragonite. I have Earthquake for a potential Entei switch. And then I have Wood Hammer to just try to damage whatever. So this thing is basically walled by Mega Venusaur, which is, I have Tornadus and safety goggles. It's like, gotta do what you gotta do. I think it's Sludge Bomb me, and it would do a decent amount. Hopefully not poison. But if this thing's in on Vaporeon, I can hopefully Swords Dance on like a Scald or Toxic, and then just start running trains. Or I can just get Ice Shards off on Dragonite and Landorus. If Entei comes in on this free, if after a KO or something, that's bad. But also I have a Focus Sash in case I get this thing in clean, and then I can take a hit and then fire back. And I do have Snow Warning this time, just to break like Dragonite. Multi-scale or the off chance bronze or Shedinja is there or something. It's like this time I think Snow Warning's valid. Last time I brought it, it kind of screwed me over. But this thing's kind of set up to be in for a few turns, so we'll have to see how it goes. But I kind of do like Obama Snow, especially with his Landorus and Dragonite being there, and Vaporeon, because Vaporeon kind of messes up my team otherwise. So here Nidoqueen is coming. I almost didn't bring this thing, but then I realized like Scarf Nidoqueen actually is like pretty good matchup. If Landorus isn't scarfed or set up, Ice Punch kills. Entei, if it's not scarfed, Earthquake kills. Mimikyu, I'll outspeed now. Meloetta, I should still outspeed even if it's transformed. Dragonite, Ice Punch kills. Mega Venusaur, Tornadus, I go into. Hitmontop's not great because I'm physical. Even Vaporeon, like Poison Jab or Earthquake, maybe. I could get Stealth Rocks up if it's late game and there's just like, oh, Dragonite's gonna come in, it's like something, I don't know. I didn't think I needed like the coverage because Poison Jab already gets the Sheer Force boost and it goes to 150 over 150 power, or Earthquake is 150 power, so I don't need a Thunder Punch for Vaporeon when Poison Jab or Earthquake will do the same amount. And also Bronzong would be an issue for this thing, but fortunately I have Hydreigon or Hoopa to hopefully come in on that thing. So it counters his offensive mons pretty well, and it obviously does not cover his defensive mons, which is one of the things Nidoqueen can be good for, is wall breaking with Sheer Force, Life Orb, and stuff. But I think Scarf actually is like kind of smart here. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. I don't know, obviously, if it actually works out. But I was just running out of things. Like for Entei, it's like, yeah, he could eat extreme speed, but like I'm still bulky. And it's just like Dragonite. I mean, I have a Hydreigon 4, but it could Dragon Dance. I guess it'd outspeed me with the Dragon Dance for max speed. But I don't know. It's Landorus 2. I don't have to rely on Boma Snow for everything. And this thing is like 80% for Entei if I can bring it in, but it's also like 70% for Mimikyu. Because if I only have 2 things that outspeed Mimikyu, and if that thing sets up and is in like Shadow Sneak range, and if this thing comes in and can take a Shadow Sneak, he won't go for it, and then I'll outspeed. It'll be interesting. And finally, I don't know if I should be bringing. I brought Special Sarina because I can hopefully take hits from Landorus. I can handle Vaporeon. This is basically the thing. Exists so I can have a switch in to Landorus if it's in for free, even if it U-turns, because Entei will murder it even if it's physically defensive. Mimikyu is kind of annoying, but hopefully I could like Trope Kick it on a switch or something, or just like make sure it's not getting super high attack and can Shadow Sneak sweep me. And it was still good, even with this no attack investment, Trope Kick still does a lot. And I have Trope Kick just for physical switches in that I can lower their attack. So even if Entei comes in on this thing, I'll still lower its attack. Same thing with Dragonite. Mega Venusaur once again walls this thing. Mega Venusaur is like annoying because I can either exterminate it with Hoopa or Tornadus, or I can't do anything to it. So it's kind of a 50-50. You have to make sure at least one of those 2 things is alive to handle Venusaur if it comes. Play by ear. But this thing basically walls. It is a wall necessarily, but it handles Hitmontop and Vaporeon just completely. So if those things are issues to me, and I still have this Vaporeon, I can just Trope Kick, I can Aromatherapy, anything. I can Rapid Spin away rocks if he wants to get him up with Bronzong, or even Landorus if he's feeling zesty. And then I can Synthesis it back. I know Synthesis doesn't have a lot of HP to stall out a Recovery Mon like Vaporeon, but I can also handle Hitmontop if it's a Toxic, if it's a whatever, because I can just keep lowering its attack. So this thing is here just kind of like be annoying and to kind of force switches for his more defensive Mons. I mean, even technically Bronzong, I can just keep Trope Kicking and Aromatherapying if I need to. So this thing is just here to kind of like stall, not like stall, but just kind of like not in the Pokemon sense of stall, where you just take as many turns as you can, but in like the car version of stall, where it just kind of like stops them from doing anything. I guess that's a check, technically. I don't know. So I don't know if this thing will actually work, but it's here. It's bulky. Hopefully it can do stuff. I was worried about hazards, and I was worried about his more defensive bonds, because like I said, his defensive bonds kind of stop a lot of my guys besides like Hoopa. I can't rely on Hoopa for everything. So that's my team build. Hopefully, I mean, like I said, Entei's in red there, and I really still didn't do that much for Entei. It's literally just Nidoqueen, and if he's not Scarfed, Tornadus, and Hydreigon can take 1 to 2 hits, but because it doesn't, I don't think it's a fighting move or a good fighting move. But whatever. So that's the team builder. I'll come up with the battle shortly, and it'll be a post-com because I can't do a live recording this week, but that's okay. So here it comes. Alright, here's the battle. Just to go over the teams, the first thing I noticed was he did bring Meloetta, which I thought was like pretty smart because, like I said, I didn't like my matchup against it, but I also just like didn't care. I don't know, it was kind of weird. And then he brought everything else that I kind of expected. Untaser, obviously, Mimikyu, Dragonite, Landorus, all his super offensive threats, and a Vaporeon that I hopefully can deal with between a Bone Snow. My 2 grass types I brought, basically. But looking at his team, I was thinking, well, I wasn't sure what he was going to lead with. I thought there was a decent chance it would be something like Landorus or Entei. So I figured I would lead with Hydreigon. If it was Mimikyu, I could U-turn break the disguise. If it was like Dragonite or Meloetta, I could get huge damage off. Even if it was, I was figuring I could either U-turn or just get big damage off. And because the matchup was good, I wasn't too worried about getting like O-code by anything. So that's what I decided to lead off with. And he does lead off with Landorus, and I said, okay, he could U-turn, but he could have Focus Blast. Like, I need to scout no matter what. Nidoqueen can take what he can dish. If he went for Earth Power, I would deserve to lose. But he's just going to U-turn, and he's going to go into Meloetta. And it's like, this is already smart because I was like, well, he's probably going to transform here. I have Sharina, which is especially defensive, and that still did 30%, which I think is insane. And basically, on the damage, I was like, well, Sharina, you're probably going to die, huh? And it does. So, Life Orb brings him down. Sharina goes down real early, which is real bad for me. I was like, I'm already put in a bad spot. But fortunately, I do have Scarf Nidoqueen. His defense is lowered. Poison Jab KOs. I was very happy about that. I very quickly turned around a terrible situation. So he does have a free switch into Dragonite. I don't expect a fire move, even if he's probably carrying it. He does for Draco Meteor, and it does a lot. So that puts a few things into my mind. I see he is not leftovers because of the hail, I believe. Weather affects damage before leftovers. His special attack is lowered, and I don't know. And multi-scale is broken. So I was thinking, okay, like, I guess he could be Yachi. He could just be all special instead of having mixed. I mean, based on that damage, I wasn't totally sure because I do have a lot of HP bulk, and it's not like Dragonite's got massive special attack. And I was thinking, well, that Meloetta really set me behind because I didn't want Serena to go down, even though I took out Meloetta in return. And I said, well, I mean, I can handle his things that aren't Vaporeon, so I decide to go for a prediction here and go for the Earthquake, predicting Entei because why would I not, I guess? And he goes for Fire Blast and Miss, and that's huge for me, terrible for him. I still have a Bone Snow now, and I'm assuming from his perspective I brought Rock Slide on a Bone Snow a few times, so I guess he was thinking that might be an option. So now he goes into Entei on the Ice Shard. Smart play. I wasn't going to go for Earthquake twice in a row unless I was banded, but even if I was banded, I wouldn't stay in. It would be a double. So here I go into Hydreigon because I'm like, this is my only resist for this thing, and Sacred Fire misses. So that's another huge thing. 2 huge misses in a row for him. And from here, I'm just like, well, I can't go for a Dragon move because Mimikyu just comes in and probably sweeps me if I'm lucky. I don't even know what that means, but so I have to go for Dark Pulse here. I'm sure he outspeeds me. He wouldn't prep down speed that low. That'd be a little silly. So I'm gonna go for Dark Pulse. I actually do outspeed, which is interesting, and he Sacred Fires me and burns and hits. And the fact that did so much is like very bad. Sorry, not pausing in the middle of the turn. So I'm going to go for Dark Pulse again. It almost 2-hit KOs his Vaporeon, but he does have leftovers and everything. So the fact that I outsped the Entei was important, so it would have been very interesting. I don't know what I can theorem on and say I would have done, because from my perspective, he outspeeds me. So if I come into that first Sacred Fire, taken over half with or without the burn, I'm not sure if I would have stayed in. He probably would have stayed in, so potentially the outcome of that could have been the same, but with Hydreigon fainted and Entei still in. But I'm not entirely sure if I can completely justify that. But I'm just saying, like, the miss was important, but the fact that I outsped him, which I had forgotten in hindsight, may not have been as important, but it would have certainly affected things down the road, even just in mindset and mentality, and me thinking I'm going to lose. So Hydreigon is very low. I see if maybe that was like a low roll for Dark Pulse and if I could kill him. No, he goes for Wish. So here I say, well, I'm not just going to get stalled out by burn damage. I'm going to go into Abomasnow. Basically, I can almost completely guarantee that he is like fully defensive and that my extra speed investment should let me outspeed. So I'm actually going to Sword Stance here, a little greedy. He's going to Wish, and I'm not going to worry about Earthquake predictions, potential of Entei coming in. I'm just going to go for Wood Hammer, and I take this thing out, and that's super good. And that Fire Blast miss was huge because of this, because now Abomasnow was able to take out Vaporeon. So I will completely agree that for the rest of my life that Fire Blast miss was super important. So he shows he does have extreme speed. I'm still not sure what item this thing is or isn't, but now I'm just going to go into Nidoqueen. I'm Scarfed. I'm going to go for Ice Punch. But he's going to get more damage off with extreme speed. He obviously knows I'm Scarfed. And Ice Punch KO, so he wasn't even Yachi. And maybe he was Expert Belt. I do not know. But that's fine. So now Mimikyu is almost like obviously exclusively going to come in. So I have no choice but to Ice Punch and break this thing's disguise. And he's going to go for the easy Sword Stance. And I'm going to say, okay, I probably get swept here, but I need to hope I can get damage off. And here he doesn't go for another sword. I was really expecting another Sword Stance. And he goes straight for Shadow Claw. So here's my move here. A lot of things happen. I said, well, I'm probably in Shadow Sneak range with Hydreigon. Hoopa's outsped and dead. It's not sassed or anything. It's not Scarfed. So Tornadus has to come in. I know I can take a Shadow Sneak here at +2, which is why I was expecting the second Sword Stance. And I actually know what happened here. I'll go into it in a second. So here, I almost made a mistake. I am modest, but I accidentally calced with a Life Orb open, but I obviously didn't have Life Orb. So the calc was telling me that like Dark Pulse could do up to like 52 to 53%, kind of like in the range. So like here I was thinking, I was like, do I want to risk the Hurricane Miss, or do I want to go like U-turn, sacrifice something, and then Dark Pulse on the come back in and Dark Pulse? But then I was like, well, no, if he has Shadow Sneak, I didn't think here's my other line. I didn't think he would go for Shadow Sneak here. I think he would think he could either live or I would have to kill him with Hurricane, and he could go for a regular move. So I wasn't expecting a Shadow Sneak here, but I also didn't want to risk the miss. But then I was like, well, like if he does Shadow Sneak, that'll do like 70%. I only get 30% from Regenerator. I would basically lose myself the game by going for U-turn here. So I decided I'll just go for Hurricane, hope I hit it, and I hit it. And that's actually just the game there, because Entei is too low to kill me. I have HP Ice, and I know this thing is not Scarfed or anything, because we saw a Life Orb earlier. So that'll do it. Here's the thing, like Fire Blast miss aside, and potential, probably mattering Sacred Fire miss, he did not have Shadow Sneak on Mimikyu. What he told me, what I believe he brought, he didn't say the last move. I'm assuming it's Play Rough, but we saw Sword Stance and Shadow Claw, and he also brought Wood Hammer for Quagsire. And I probably would have brought Quagsire had it not been for Mega Venusaur, but he wasn't bringing Mega Venusaur, so it's kind of like this weird thing where since he wasn't bringing Mega Venusaur, he needed something else for Quagsire, because otherwise, Dragonite gets handled a little bit, Vaporeon gets stalled out, like Entei especially. So I totally disagree with him not bringing Shadow Sneak, but like that is what let me win the game. So because the Shadow Sneak and Extreme Speed combo from Entei would have taken out Tornadus, so he could have just Shadow Snuck, died, let Mimikyu go down, come into Entei. I would have had to switch probably into Hydreigon, even though it outsped, and die to the Extreme Speed, go into Hoopa, try to KO Landorus back in on the switch, or maybe he would I would go for a Mega Super Z move anyways, no matter what, because Landorus would die. But like, I don't know, it would have been a lot closer. So like the Fire Blast miss would have definitely mattered, but the fact that he didn't bring Shadow Sneak like really messed him up. And like, it's like, it's fine. It's all hindsight. Like, he basically, in his opinion, which I agree with, he had to bring Woodhammer or else Quagsire would just totally fuck him up, especially if it was physically defensive. I'm just like, I totally get that. I've done similar things where I bring this because of this mon. It's actually what like made me lose week 2 when I was like, I need Focus Blast just in case Nidoqueen's in on Lopunny when I should have just brought like Flamethrower or something, you know. So that's how it goes. It is a 3-0 win. I definitely should have lost. Like no hacks battle. We all hit all our moves. There's no crits. Even like he doesn't get the burn from Sacred Fire. I don't even know if that's considered hacks. Like I should have lost just on playing, on switches in, on leads, on everything, on what we brought. I should have lost, but I didn't. So at the time, I was like, oh well, you know, at least he was first in his division, and you know, like it wasn't as important a game. I would have felt really bad had it been like one of the most important matches of the season, and then I hacked him out. And then I realized, like, well, he's 6-3 now, and so am I. And the next best person is 5-4 in his division now. So he's actually only one game up. I mean, he still has like the best differential on his side, but like I realized like this battle mattered a lot more. Like the hacks wasn't as bad in hindsight, I think, but then like the importance of the battle was more important. So it was a weird outcome. Like I was happy with the win. I think like I don't know. I guess if had I clicked Ice Shard with Abomasnow, totally different match. I mean, I don't know because Entei probably still comes in after that, and then I switch into Hydreigon, and it's a very similar situation. Besides, without Dragonite extreme speeds, so it's like there's a lot of theory mining that goes in the second a miss happens and switches as a result. So like I'm not happy, like really, because I had to win through luck. But I didn't rely on the luck to win. The luck is let me win. You know the difference where it's like, well, I have to go for air slashes now. I hope I get flinches. Like I hate that. Like I would still do it if the opportunity come. But that feels a lot worse than just like the game gifted me a win. So it is a huge win. I came back from a loss. I've yet to drop 2 games in a row, which like is a random statistic that doesn't really mean anything. But it is nice. It is nice to win this. A 3-0 is a fine differential. I do actually have the best differential in Diamond right now in my conference, my half of the 12, but I don't have the best record because my last week opponent is still a game ahead of me, so we'll have to see how that goes. But next week I'm facing Gray, the commissioner of the league, and you know the guy who designed it all. He's 3-6 eliminated from the playoffs, but he still has a really good team and a really good matchup, so I'm worried about that. I need to record my team builder for that soon. And I don't know why I'm talking about that now at the end of the battle. But if you watch this all the way through, it's a longer one. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought. Let me know how badly I deserve to lose on that Earthquake, Fire Blast miss, you know, all that. And I will see you guys for next week.